the high-stakes chessboard of global geopolitics, Prime Minister Modi is wielding the timeless wisdom of Chanakya Neeti to navigate the turbulent waters stirred by Donald Trump's aggressive posturing. The ancient strategist Chanakya emphasized on pragmatism, diplomacy and the art of turning adversaries into opportunities. Prime Minister Modi, a modern disciple of this Bharatiya wisdom, is deftly applying these principles to counter Trump's tariff threats and maintain Bharat's strategic autonomy, particularly in its relations with Russia and China. Viewers, Chanakya's maxim, an enemy's enemy is a friend, is at the heart of Modi's approach. Trump's recent threats of 50% tariffs on India for its continued purchase of the Russian oil aim to disrupt New Delhi's non-alignment policy and pressure it into siding with the U.S. against China and Russia. Yet Modi's phone call with Vladimir Putin just a short while ago and his upcoming meeting with Xi Jinping signal a calculated defiance. By strengthening ties with both Russia and China, Prime Minister Modi is trying to ensure that Bharat remains a pivotal player, refusing to be cornered by Trump's bravado. Modi's outreach to Jinping reflects Chanakya's doctrine of keeping rivals close to neutralize threats. Let's quickly open this up. Sanju Verma, Dr. Ranganathan, stay on. Professor Madhav Nalapat, Sushant Sareen joining the panel. Sushant Sareen, to you first. A lot has been said and written about Trump's tariff threats, what will India do, etc. How are you reading this? I think you're on mute, sir.
I'm sorry. Look, I don't think it's about trade or tariffs anymore, if ever it was. Because I think by all accounts, the kind of flexibility that was shown by India, apart from the kind of red lines we had, was unparalleled. And any American government which wanted a trade deal would have grabbed it in a jiffy. The fact that these guys haven't means that there is something either political or personal which has gone wrong. And what Trump wants is to humiliate India. He wants Indian capitulation. He wants India to be servile and subservient to the American interests, and that we should acknowledge him as our Maibab. I don't think that is going to happen. Now, the Europeans might be very happy to do all of that and might feel very comfortable doing all of that. I don't think any self-respecting government in India can ever do that. Then there is the question of what happens to the larger security and strategic relationship. Look, this is a relationship which we put a lot in store of, but so did the Americans. It was not a one-way street. But if you have a regime in the United States which is running rampant, what do? Either you say that, okay, fine, I'm ready to become a colony once again of the Americans, and Trump is my Badshah and my ruler, and I will prostrate before him. Either you say that, right, or you say, fine, I will fight with whatever I have, I will build whatever other alliances and relationships I can, and I am not going to kowtow to this bully and the kind of mad crowd that he has collected around him who don't know the first thing about economics or about finance or about strategy, politics, and even less they know anything about etiquette and behavior. Right? I think even if by some miracle, some kind of a trade deal was to be struck, I think that the strategic relationship is now, riven with doubt and with distrust. If I was anybody in government, I am not, thankfully, I don't think I would sign any defense deal anymore with the Americans, because tomorrow he will simply change the goalpost and say, I'm not going to give you spares, I'm not going to give you supplies, I am going to hold you hostage until and unless you agree to what I'm saying. I don't see how any government in India can hold itself hostage to Trump. And just one last point, just like we never could accept a pipeline carrying energy supplies running from Pakistan into India, I don't think we can accept a defense pipeline anymore with the United States or dependent on the United States largest I don't think that's going to be a very wise thing to do.
That's untenable. Professor Nalapat, a phone call with Putin, then a meeting that's coming up with Xi Jinping. How are you seeing this?
Look, first of all, I'd like to say that President Trump seems to have declared war on India. It's not simply a question of tariffs. He's got some kind of deep personal hatred of India. I don't know what the trigger for that was, but whatever it is, President Trump is at war with India, and he's the President of the United States. So in that sense, the U.S. administration, some parts of it are following that line. But the reality is that many parts of the U.S. administration are themselves very concerned about the behavior of Donald Trump over the last 5 or 6 weeks. They're very concerned about it. I have talked to several people in the Republican Party. They are very concerned about the way he's behaving. I mean, not just towards India, but in other matters as well. In regarding, for example, the treatment of so-called illegal immigrants, the treatment of visitors to the U.S., asking them for passports.
Right.
I mean, ICE is running amok. So the reality is, I don't know how much longer this is going to last, but I think the Republicans themselves will understand that this is suicidal for them as a party and as legislators. And let's face it, every politician's main objective is to safeguard his or her position. So given that, I don't think it's going to be long before this Trump will either ask to...
Sanjeev Verma, I'm coming to you. Sushant Sarin wants to say something quickly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, two very quick points. Look, one, I don't think we should look at it only as a Trumpian phenomena, because this phenomena might outlast him. There are other mad characters in this administration who are waiting to succeed him after 3.5 years. So there is no guarantee that instead of 3.5 years, this is 7.5 or 11.5 years. One. And secondly, please remember, while I agree with what Dr. Nalapat is saying, that there are a lot of people, well-meaning people in the US system who are asked at what is happening. But remember one thing, we have seen that checks and balances in the United States mean nothing. They mean zilch, zero, zip.
Right.
There is one man who is running amok, who could very well call him the Xi Jinping of or the Kim Jong-un of United States of America, for all I...
Right? Sanjeev Verma, quickly.
Taking off from what Sushant Sarin said that, the US does not believe in checks and balances. I think that is precisely why. I don't care if you call me a Modi cheerleader. That is precisely why Prime Minister Narendra Modi perhaps saw the writing on the wall. We concluded a comprehensive economic trade agreement way back in 2022 with the ASEAN nations. We had a highly successful FTA signed with Australia in 2022. And barely a few weeks back, we signed an FTA with the United Kingdom, which will increase our bilateral trade from just $58 billion to over $110 billion in less than 4 years. And let me tell you one more thing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not a leader. You can have a gun to his head and ask him to toe your line. And we saw that
intimidation won't work. Dr. Ranganathan.
We don't need to manage Trump. Honestly, we just need to manage our books, and Trump will get managed automatically. Very briefly, 30 seconds, two things we must do immediately. We must negotiate not with USA, but with Russia for an increase in the current discount of 7% that we are getting on Russian oil. In fact, if we get the kind of discount, Pranesh, for the next year that we were getting from Russia 2 years ago, 24 to 30%, we would totally offset the hit that we expect through these 50% Trump tariffs slated to be 0.3% of GDP by Goldman Sachs. And number two, we must increase our imports of Russian oil from the current 32% of our total oil. India has saved $26 billion in the last 3 years through buying Russian instead of Saudi oil. Had it not, our inflation would have increased cumulatively by 1.47% over what it has been 3 years. So if we manage our books properly, we don't need to manage Trump.
Let's see how this Trump tariff saga unfolds. What's coming up? Very difficult to predict what Trump will do, like you've heard from our experts on the panel. That's all the time we have for the Friday Spotlight News Hour edition with Navika Kumar on the other side.